बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम रब्बि ज़िदनी इल्मा।
The first thing we'll try to understand, okay, before we go ahead with an ad, we need to understand the original design of the internet. Like when we talk about original design, every organization will be using a registered public IP address. So which means, let's say if I have a company and I have some 100 users who requires to be able to connect to the internet. So basically what I'm doing is I'm going to use a registered IP address. So in today's networks, we call them as like public IP address. So which I have another company, let's say another company is using, let's say 10 users, and they will be using their own registered addresses to connect to the internet. So like that, every organization, by default, what they will be using is, initially when they started the IP version 4, everyone was using the registered IP addresses in general. So every organization uses a normal registered IPv4 addresses. So this will ensure that none of the users or none of the networks are being reused, which means, let's say if I'm assigning an address in the range of 201.1.subnet, so basically this is like a unique registered address, and this is not used by anyone in the entire world to connect to the internet. So there will be like no repetition of the same addresses in general. They are called registered addresses. So the IP addresses will never be duplicated, and also the routing is going to work in general without any problems, especially over the internet, because there is no conflict of addresses, something like that. So this was the initial concept of the internet initially when they started, but later on, when they started means like around in 1980s when TCP/IP all this started. But later on in mid 1990s, like 1993 or later on, they realized that internet was growing at a very high speed, and the number of users connecting to internet also growing. So whatever the registered addresses we are using, like IPv4 address is going to provide you a 32-bit address, which means it supports around 4.3 billion IP addresses, so 2 to the power of 32. So whatever this address range which is given, that will not be sufficient to meet the growing network requirement. Okay, so maybe in the future, in the next couple of years or in the future, these addresses will be completely assigned, and if there are any new organizations coming up with an internet connection, then we won't be able to connect them because we don't have enough IP addresses to provide to them. So just like IP address will be exhausted. So then they thought of coming up with some kind of solution, and then they have come up with multiple solutions. One is long-term solution and also the short-term solutions. So basically the long-term solution is your IPv6, which we have covered in a separate section. So IPv6 is one of the long-term solution, which means we can start using the IPv6 address, which is going to be 128-bit, and of course it supports 10 to the power of 38 address spaces, where the size of the IP addresses will be very large, and it can also provide you a unique address range for each and every organization which is connecting to the internet. So which means even if the internet grows more than double every year for the next 50 years, we can still survive without any kind of shortage. So IPv6 is kind of a long-term solution, but meantime they have also come up with some kind of short-term solutions, and these short-term solutions are like they have categorized the addresses into private and public. That is one option. And then they said that, okay, within the organization, like we have already discussed the private public IP section in our TCP/IP section. So I'm not getting in details of this. I hope you know those concepts. So basically they said, okay, within the LAN, within your company, you can still go ahead and use the private IP addresses. You can use these addresses, and these addresses are not registered. You can use them in the LAN organization, and they are not recognized on the internet. So which means if you're trying to send a traffic over to the internet with this source address, and by default this will be discarded. Means generally the service provider have a default rule of deny the packets with anything in the range of private IP addresses. So what you can do is you can this is how they decided. But what if these users want to go to internet? Then what I can do is I can translate these addresses into a public registered addresses. and that is where the NAT concept comes. So basically, this NAT concept and the private addressing, these concepts work together. That's what we are going to see in our case. We'll be seeing the NAT, which translates your private IP addresses into public IP addresses. Apart from that, you also have the concept of subnetting and the summarization, the CIDR concepts. So basically, we have seen these concepts already in the subnetting section, which allows service providers to minimize the wastage of the IP addresses. Like we can configure the subnets, the smaller networks, and we can allocate the customers. It can be a public IP also to the nearest possible size. Depending upon the subnetting concepts, we can do that. And additionally, you can also summarize the routes. That's kind of CIDR, classless interdomain routing. Okay, the CIDR allows you to merge the routes. Like let's say you have the customers are using these routes, then basically what I can do is I can just combine these routes into one single network, like 198.0.0.0, something like this. So one single subnet, and that's what called of summarization or the CIDR concepts generally. So this will helps in minimizing the size of the routing table. Again, probably we have seen that in a separate section, but again, these are like the short-term solutions. So here we'll be talking about the short-term solutions, like how we can translate the private IP addresses into public IP addresses here.